I'm muted as well. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Lynn Munzer. I'm the Deputy Director for the Wind Fellowship at the Atlantic Council. It's a pleasure to be here today with great guests, fellows, online and in person, and of course, our partners. The MENA region has seen a remarkable growth in startup ecosystem in the past decade. In 2023, startup ventures throughout the region, collectively, they accumulated around $4 billion in funding. It's like 16-fold increase from 2015. This growth is complemented actually by around 30% increase in exits via mergers and acquisition. This is from 2022. And we saw a lot of emergence of several unicorns, indicating a vibrant and dynamic entrepreneurial scene. This achievement highlights the region's capacity to navigate all these complex political and economic challenges. It laying a foundation for current entrepreneurs and future ones. Today, we're addressing an important topic, navigating scalability. Our conversation extends beyond mere business growth. We delve into the core of scalability as a critical juncture for entrepreneurs. Scaling a business involves more than just expansion. It involves a strategic increase in impact, reaching new markets, and fostering innovation. Our session aims to shine a light on the journey for entrepreneurs, guiding them to scale their ventures while maintaining their foundational values and missions. Now, I want to thank, of course, our founder at the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain, Ali Swar and Linda McMillan. There have been great support throughout this year, because this is the last session for this cohort, and we're looking forward for the next cohort starting in June, July. And of course, our in-country partner, Bahrain FinTech Bay, for their continuous support and relentless support in all sorts of ways. Their dedication to nurturing a thriving ecosystem, especially entrepreneurial ecosystem in Bahrain, is so inspirational. Now, I'm excited to introduce you to Amira Mohammed, who will be leading today's session. Amira, she's the head of the acceleration initiatives at Bahrain FinTech Bay, where she designs programs focused on innovation for financial institutions and government bodies. With her guidance, over 60 startups have successfully leveraged technology to navigate the ecosystem and seize growth opportunities. Amira, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Lynn. So I just want to welcome everyone to our session, and I believe some of the attendees are also on their way. But allow me this pleasure to welcome our esteemed panelists for today. First of all, I would like, if you are in the startup community, I'm sure you recognize this person, but I would like to welcome Mr. Nawaf Mohammed Al-Kuhiji, CEO of Tenmu, one of the earliest companies, or if not, the first company probably dedicated to fostering a vibrant startup ecosystem in Bahrain, with a wealth of experience, including founding the culinary company and contributing to startups and SME development at Temkeen. I always make sure to always listen to Nawaf's insights when it comes to the startup community and investment scene. So welcome, Nawaf.
Thank you.
I also would like, and I'm super excited to welcome Chef Ru'ya Saleh. If you know her, she's the founder of William Moma's Restaurants Group and the CEO of RS Management, with her unparalleled expertise, obviously, in the food and beverage industry. I think it's safe to say that Chef Ru'ya has showcased Bahraini cuisine and the Khalij culture to a global scale. And it's amazing to see how she's also garnered international recognition in terms of her innovative business model and commitment to empowering and inspiring women around the globe. So welcome, Chef Ru'ya. And last but not least, joining us virtually is Omar Rifai, co-founder and chief growth officer at GrabTech, a SaaS and fintech startup in the food and beverage industry, powering clients across 17 markets. So with a background spanning from private equity, strategic investments, and successful startup ventures, Amar brings invaluable insight into the capital efficiency, customer centricity, and strategic growth to our panel. So welcome, Amar. Right, so before we start, I just want to ask all of our in-person attendees, let's leave all of our questions towards the end of the session. And for those joining us online, please make sure that you send in your questions at askac.org, and we'll be covering them at the end of the session. And I just want to apologize to our panelists, just in case if I need to interrupt, just to kind of stick with the schedule of the event. And, without further ado, I think I can start off with Raya. You opened the video malls obviously in 2012, since then you've expanded to other locations such as London, Riyadh, most recently Riyadh and Abu Dhabi. You're very experienced in the hospitality and food beverage industry. And I just wanted to know, when expanding your business, how do you make sure that you retain Video Mama's distinct identity when expanding outside of Bahrain, and how do you make sure you're preserving that culture and and even more Bahraini culture and all of that?
Thank you very much for the introduction. And so I think you can hear me.
Yes. I think it's just for the online, but for the people online,
Really?
yeah.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here and sharing my experience and the information I could give you and give the world, because I believe in this. I believe in giving. It's very important to live by it. You have to give to get in your life, in every aspect of the life. And when it comes to empowering women, entrepreneurs, youth, I live by it. I breathe it. I believe in it. You asked me how do you stay real with the ethos and principles? How do you grow from that? Well, we have a very solid structure. We have a very solid standard in Villa Mamas that we go by as a family. Employees of Villa Mamas are family of Villa Mamas. We regard each and every one that works with Villa Mamas as part of us. So we have ethos standard, and everyone of our family knows who we are, what we stand by. We make sure that whoever comes on board is fully understanding where we are, where we are going, and they need to believe in us. They need to believe in what we offer in the market. So everyone knows that Villa Mamas is not just a restaurant. And when I started Villa Mamas, I didn't want to just start a restaurant. It's a restaurant that delivers an experience. So from the start, when I built this concept, I built it based on that I want to deliver an experience. I want to deliver something that is unique in terms of product or in terms of services. And so this is how we grew and scaled up, doing exact same thing and improving. So when people now in Riyadh, for example, after 12 years opened in Riyadh, they ask me, how come Riyadh is much more uplifted? It's different. Well, it's natural that we develop how we go forward. We don't go in the back, right? When I started Villa Mamas in Bahrain 12 years ago, I didn't have experience. I didn't have any, culinary schooling or any F&B experience. Now that I have it, I know what to do. So yeah.
No, that's very
I hope I answer.
Of course. And it's very inspiring to see, a woman, especially who wants to bring that genuinity of that culture to other markets. It's always, you can feel it from the atmosphere of whether it be a business, from the founder itself, and everything. And just going on to that, so Definitely, when you're going, obviously your expansions have been both in a non-GCC country and within the GCC. Did you face any challenges when going between both, and how did you have to adapt a little bit, whether it be a minor adaptation or a major adaptation?
So we live with challenges every day, every single day. Young entrepreneurs that are, emerging in the market. If you want to succeed in your idea, in your concept, you just need to focus. You really need to focus. And focus made Villa Mamas where it is now. Along the way, you will have a lot of people coming and telling you different stories and trying to discourage you or encourage you into diverting your concept. If you're focused, if you believe in what you're delivering, you cannot allow the outside world affect your decision making. So focusing on what you offer, what you want to deliver, is a key element in achieving success. One more thing I want to say here. It doesn't mean that I didn't make mistakes. I did a lot of mistakes when I started my own business. Yes, I fell a lot of times. I did a lot of bad decisions, and you don't know that I made the bad decisions. The world doesn't know that I made the bad decisions. The world doesn't know that I cried so many times because I was penniless. The world doesn't know this, but it happened. It happened, and if you believe in what you want to deliver, you will learn and you will continue. This is life. This is how it is. And this is how a person will call themselves entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. So maybe, Nawaf, maybe this is the next question, I guess, is for you. As we both know, Bahrain is probably one of the fastest in terms of the entrepreneurial space within the region. So when you're wearing that CEO hat of Tenmu, what are some of the indicators that you consider when looking for potential investment in startups, more particularly the ones that are looking to scale? What are some of those indicators that you consider?
First of all, thank you very much for coming. Definitely, Chef Mamas, we all have a special place in our hearts. It's with our neighborhood cafe, and we really love your place. And definitely, the journey of entrepreneurship is not easy. And being on the other spectrum of things, I'm the investor. We invest in tech startups in Bahrain. So what Tenmu does is that we are angels. We invest in tech startups. Since inception, we invested in more than 30 startups. We have also exited with the 2.5x in returns in an average amount of 2 years, which is exceptional. The global average is about 8 years, which is great for Bahrain. We're the first investors in Eat App, and now the Eat App is valued at $60 million, and we invested with only 30,000 BD, which is great. And considering a Bahraini startup, a Bahraini founder, being in the food tech business is something that we're very proud of. Coming back to your question, so investment is the other hat. So look into startups, and you're not a startup anymore, but into businesses, into tech businesses that we think that will change the world. And solving a problem is very important because technology is the change from being normal to being this abnormal company that will change the world, and we've seen it with all the technology, and it's the way forward. Yani, technology will always be the number one changer in all of this. We look at the founders, so such as Chef Raya. Yani, this is like, we look at her 80% of the total deal.
Yeah.
Can she do it? Yes, she can. Can she change and be focused? يعني this is very important. No matter what, you have a vision. This is your vision to make Villa Mamas the greatest restaurant in the world. So this is what if we look at a founder, can they deliver what they have promised to the investors? This is very important. So 90 or 80% of our due diligence goes to the founder. And what we look at is also the market. Are they doing something for the market and what the market needs? And the product is fit for the market. If not, why do something that will not help the market or be with the market? I'm pretty sure when you went to Saudi, you're like, this is what Saudi market needs and not what Bahrain market needs, because Saudi is a different market.
Absolutely.
And this is very important. Also, maybe what I like about Peter Thiel concept is monopoly. It's like create a monopoly around what you're doing. It's like you're building a thing that nobody else has, but also maybe they have it, but you're creating it that will not affect your business. So it's about this idea that is like the monopoly of ideas.
Absolutely.
This is really يعني في البداية we didn't have a cafe next to Hamel so and Bahraini, this was new.
Yeah.
Really, and how can Villa Mamas expand to the region and create this monopoly of Bahraini cuisine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody did it, which is what
Nobody can do it.
Exactly, it's very hard.
Nobody ever will do it.
Yeah.
True. So this is how you need to build your company. Is it the monopoly of all monopolies? Is it the Amazon of all Amazons? This is
And I think it's very important, like you mentioned, at the end of the day, it's the founders behind that vision. A founder who's passionate enough to solve the problem, whether it's with technology, obviously at this point in time, but it's the founder who would accept that challenges will be faced and how can they learn from challenges and how they can grow further from then on. And, just a little bit going back to it's important that entrepreneurs or founders kind of understand the market that they're entering in, obviously. Does that indicator, as an investor, does that indicator kind of change when it comes to investing in a startup that is expanding or growing within the market that they're in, as opposed to when an entrepreneur or a startup expands outside?
I think with a lot of the startups, I think dominating a small market and then expanding is very great. And we're very blessed to be in Bahrain. Like if you started in Riyadh and came to Bahrain, it's going to be very hard and difficult.
Yeah.
But if you start in a small market and you dominate a small market, then you go to Riyadh or you go to the world because you've tested, you've done everything and you went.
Case study.
And being in this market, I think we're very blessed. But you need to have a vision. You need to leave, you need to expand, you need to dominate the world market. When Eat App started in Bahrain, they were nothing. And now they're ranked one of the top 10 SaaS platforms for table booking. So how can a Bahraini founder do this? Because they had a vision and they're very determined and they've tested it in Bahrain. And khalas, once they're mature, they went to Dubai and then from there to the world. I think that's very important to I don't know if you want to add your experience in
Scaling up
yes.
in other markets,
Maybe or what will founders need to scale up from Bahrain?
Okay. I agree with you 100% that if you want to be successful with your product, with your idea, you absolutely are blessed to do it in Bahrain. And I know because I know what other markets are in terms of expenses, in terms of overheads. And so each market will carry its own challenges, its own needs. Sometimes an idea or a concept will work in Bahrain, but it will not work in London or in the US or in Riyadh or wherever. Unless this concept can be molded, can be a little bit defined according to that market, then you can, achieve success. And so, going back to the concept, what the concept is, the market versus the concept. What are the challenges that are there that exist? That you could face in the future. You should not be ever short-sighted. You should always look, beyond. And it's very important to identify your exit from the start. Don't you agree?
Sure.
You have to really build a program behind this concept and how far you want it to go and how you want it to exit from it, how you want to leave this as a legacy. Do you want to do that, or do you want to, do something else with it? All of this must be prepared, studied prior to going in the market.
Yeah, I think that's very important to study your market, study your strategy. Now, maybe here's a question for Amar. You hold a unique role where you both have the background of being an entrepreneur as well as a venture capital experiences. Now, when founding GrubTech, you founded GrubTech actually while you were still a venture partner at Gulf Capital. So, how did you find this experience helpful to you when expanding across the GCC?
I think he's
sorry, Amar, I think you're on mute. The famous words that till now it hasn't.
muted.
It's still muted. Oh, you're still muted, Amar.
Can you?
Yes, I believe so. You can. Yes. I think maybe he might be changing devices. Okay, so probably in the meantime, while we wait for Amar, maybe going back to Nawab, there we go. Amar, can you hear us now? Can you just make sure that maybe we can hear your questions over now?
All right, I can hear you guys. Sorry, we're gonna have to do this over the phone if that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. All right,
awesome. Look, awesome subjects. Please let me know if you could hear me. Interrupt me if the voice is too faint. Look, first of all, thanks a lot for the panelists, because I think you've highlighted two things that any entrepreneur will tell you they've learned the hard way, which is, focus and conquer your backyard and your hometown first before you expand. Back to your question, Miriam, I've been a little bit fortunate that in my previous life, I was an investor for about 18 years, not necessarily an early stage investor, but a later stage investor in different sectors. So companies that were anywhere between 100 million to $1 billion. And one of the most common themes we saw that even big companies really made mistakes in was a rushed kind of expansion strategy, oftentimes driven by investors, right? And I think similarly, you see a lot of entrepreneurs saying I've done something really well. I've created a very unique product. I've positioned it really well. And now it's time for me to go and conquer the world. But I see a lot more failures in that first attempt than successes. And, from my vantage point, that gave me a little bit of you would say, lessons learned when we came to kind of grow GrubTech. But even with that, mistakes were still made. So we definitely are at a phase where there's historically been a mad rush to just jump into different markets. And I think it's from learning experience better to kind of wait and do things the proper way.
And I know that GrabTech has offices in like UAE, Egypt, Sri Lanka, and supports over 750 brands, and you operate in more than 20 countries. Can you speak a bit more of the challenges, what you face when scaling up, or maybe making partnerships outside of the UAE?
Yes, we do, and you could add Turkey to that list, and in about a couple of weeks, Barcelona to that list. So the scaling up, the challenges that we faced, and the opportunities that we faced are twofold. One, on the challenges side, it's not knowing the market well enough. We definitely went into certain markets thinking that they're big, they're large, we can make a lot of money. But on the flip side, one of those mistakes turned into a massive opportunity, which is Egypt, right? We went there wanting to sell 100 million people, 130,000 restaurants, and many more grocery stores. But it ended up being a fantastic shared services country for us, where we run now a lot of our central services that cover the 20 markets that we currently sell in. And the other aspect is when we expand and start serving customers in many other markets, and I think ETAP is a great example of actually a startup that's been able to serve companies globally. Similarly, initially there's a learning curve, but if you were to be smart about it and say, okay, I've gotten some traction in a new market, but I'm not obligated to go full throttle until I've fixed everything, localized it, understood that market, then you could launch much faster. That's how we started doing it, just because of the pains we experienced in Egypt when we tried to expand there, and also from a lot of the kind of the scars from seeing companies I've invested in the past scaling too fast.
Perfect, thank you. Maybe back to you, Shafra. Yeah. So you've mentioned in the past that you faced probably difficulties when in terms of securing financial banking, and you've cited Tamkeen as a good support when in terms of needing that. What were some of the financial considerations you kind of have to consider or be mindful of when making a decision to expand?
Okay, so Villa Momos was a success from day one. It was scary, really scary to me. I don't want to go there where I fainted and I had to do a lot of things. Chefs didn't come. They decided not to support. They decided to just leave because it was just too much for them. I had to do everything myself, wash dishes, clean, cook, and it was tough. And so, but no one saw this. So in very early on, I had investors knocking my door, wanting me to expand with them. They wanted franchise, which I didn't know even what kind of plate that I was using. I was using the plates that I had at home. I did not have anything. I was not ready for franchise. And this is what entrepreneurs going into this market fall for. And then they regret, getting involved into, investors, Shark Tanks, okay, wanting to benefit from those entrepreneurs' ideas and businesses. And then they fail. They fail because they were not ready. They fool themselves thinking that they are ready. They were not ready. Anyway, I was not ready from the beginning. I gave myself time, really took it, focused on my services and my offerings, focused to build myself first before expanding. And because I had a very solid principle on my concept, Villa Momos wasn't a concept built on the basis of financials. I didn't want to make money as much as I wanted to prove that Bahraini food was equivalent, if not better than world cuisine. Yeah, it's just that it didn't have a chance, So it's like a person, just like a human being that talented artist, but he never had a chance to shine. And I just wanted to give Bahraini cuisine a chance to shine in the West. Because in my idea, if I took it to the Gulf, it wasn't something challenging for me. It wasn't something that represented any challenge or any, it wasn't, I wouldn't be happy, you know, it wasn't something that will make me happy. But to take this to the West in London market, you know how London market is so competitive, yeah, and to be successful in such a developed market such as London, and to sustain this over these years, building it, making it the best Middle Eastern cuisine, taking it as the first Bahraini. This cannot, no one can take this away from me. No one can say somebody else took the Bahraini cuisine into London market. So the ethos and principles behind it was not financials. Yes, I made money, I have a lot of money, but the idea was not, the finance and money was not behind it as much as leaving a legacy, doing something that no one dared doing, and accepting the challenges that made me sacrifice a lot in my life, in my personal life, but then it happened. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think it's always important to hear from people's learnings after, you know, how they went and expanded into other regions. Now, Amar, maybe just going back to you a little bit. I know Nawaf had mentioned before how right now the technology is what's really going to help your businesses kind of grow and expand, whether it be within your markets, outside of your market. Technology has proven that, you know, it's something that should be used. Should it be an enemy? It should be something to support you. So, you know, with GrubTech at the forefront of the F&B technology, what innovations do you see as game changers for entrepreneurs in this sector, particularly when enhancing their scalability and customer engagement?
That's a great one. So there's a lot happening behind the scenes with F&B technology. We've seen the revolution, obviously, on the front end of the value chain with consumers and the different ways that they could interact with their favorite F&B brands from a digital standpoint, whether it's ordering at home in the office or even inside the restaurant, the different digital touch points, whether it's, you know, kiosks, order, pay by QR code, etc. What I think is quite exciting that hasn't really fully been addressed yet is, I would say, in the kind of middle and the back end of that value chain. What happens, you know, behind the counter in the kitchen? And then beyond that, what happens between the restaurant and the entire supply chain, all the way back to, call it, the farm or the source of food being produced. I feel for anyone looking to scale in this sector, if you are in a part of the value chain where you have a lot of competition, you definitely have to think about how to enhance your product and be a lot more innovative. We've been forced to do that with some of our products because we're quite competitive. Or you could think about how you could continue to capture more of that value chain in a smart way, right? You can't, for instance, be a reservation app and then all of a sudden pivot right away to kind of say, I'm going to be a farm-to-table digital platform. But I see a lot of opportunities on in-kitchen technology, everything from robotics, everything to fraud detection, everything from AI being used to figure out exactly what is happening in that kitchen and how it could be improved to food quality. And you have technologies, for instance, now with drive-through, where you're talking to a machine, or quite frankly, you're talking to someone at home. It's like a call center. And then on the back end, on the supply chain, I'm really excited about what might happen in that space over the long run, because it is still very archaic. And I'm not talking just about in our part of the world, talking about even in developed markets. There's a lot of human touch points. There's a lot of siloed data. There's a lot of food waste. There's a lot of money being wasted. There are lots of things that could happen to make that part of the value chain extremely automated with all kinds of, social benefits and financial benefits.
I think the last person you want to upset is someone who doesn't get their food or dinner. So having technology really improve that, I think it makes all life easy, both for the restaurant side and also from a customer's end of things. Now, maybe Nawaf, in the investment space and in the venture capital space, bringing in your expertise, what reforms do you believe Bahrain should introduce in order to attract more regional angel investors to support women entrepreneurs?
I think Bahrain started all of this, but because there's no lack of awareness and funding, maybe people drifted. We started the first angel investment company in the region, and then everybody was bigger than us. This is the whole dynamics of Bahrain. So, however, I think for us to bring in local investors, and maybe Villa Mamas could be an investor, how can we encourage and maybe teach Villa Mamas how to invest in startups? This is very important.
I invested in startups.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I did.
Nice. So how can we create more of Chef Ra'ia and create more angels? Because what we see in Bahrain, a lot of investments are done by us or another investment firm, but we don't have a lot of personal angels.
With Bibon,
Oh yes, yeah,
I invested in.
yes,
I will talk about June.
yes.
I did some investment through Bibon, and those entrepreneurs that really they believe in their concept and they have something going. They could apply in Bibon and they can have
But like now, if I think it's just having a bit more of awareness, and
True.
probably both from an investor, like for potential investors, whether you don't need to be one of those big investment firms to invest, but you can be an individual investing.
I think maybe incentivizing angels with maybe government support, because a lot of these ideas and initiatives started with the government. And I think we need more government-led initiatives for angels and investors to foster and flourish. This is very important. And Bibon is a government initiative, so a lot more of Bibons and initiatives like that will help to bring in money and also create awareness within investors.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an important point. And I think the more investors we have in the markets, the better for all startups. You can have startups continue to grow within their industry rather than doing probably maybe wrong moves of trying to grow too fast by going to other markets without really capitalizing on the opportunities within the market that they are in itself. So maybe Chef Ra'ia, you've mentioned obviously your expansion to London. So why did you choose London specifically?
I said it because I wanted to introduce Bahraini cuisine to the European palate.
Yeah,
and that was the only way I could do it. And unfortunately, when I started, it was bombarded by ads that know Villa Mamas as soon as they knew that Villa Mamas is entering UK market, and they knew Villa Mamas, they knew what Villa Mamas offers, but the place is small. It couldn't carry, a large number of people. And Europeans normally, when they pass through somewhere that is small and so crowded, they stay away. But believe it or not, COVID was a blessing for me in the UK, because then no Arab was there, and no student was there, and no one was there except the Europeans. And that gave a chance to Villa Mamas to receive that part of clientele. And then they started, tasting the food, they started loving it. And now from 90% Arabs, 10% Europeans, now it's either 50-50 or sometimes even 90% Europeans, 10% Arabs. When I started Villa Mamas in London, and I wanted to attract the European palate, I needed to be licensed. If I wasn't licensed, then I wouldn't attract the European customers.
Yeah.
So every market has its own needs. And if you are stubborn towards what you offer back home, towards what you can offer in New York City or in anywhere else, then that is a sign of failure.
Yeah.
You need to know the market where you're going.
Yeah. And then Amar, just again, similar to what I've asked Chef Raia, you've mentioned that you're soon expanding as well to other countries. So what's the reasoning behind choosing Egypt and Sri Lanka? And as well as what indicators would you advise startups to consider when choosing a country to expand to?
Sure. So Sri Lanka is actually our engineering hub. We house about 90 engineers there. It's a secret. Well, not a lot of people know about it because a lot of the big companies go to India and Pakistan and Ukraine and Poland. One of my co-founders had good experience there. Egypt, we chose because we said it was a very large market with a lot of restaurants, and we offer software solutions for large enterprises and big restaurant groups. And quite frankly, there was an error in judgment there about the willingness to buy and whether our product was ready for that market. So I will admit that was actually a failure. Luckily, we hadn't invested a lot in terms of time and resources, but we did learn a very good lesson, which is go back to being humble and be very careful about the markets you expand to. It turned out to be a blessing in disguise because, like I said, we now have over 40 people in Egypt that handle everything from onboarding to support to finance and HR globally for us. Now, when we do assess a market, I can't emphasize how much it is important it is for two types of research to be done. First is the desktop research. As my co-panelists have said, is this a sizable market? Where do I stand? Is there something I could do that's quite unique and I could find a wedge in? And that's I would say you could do from the comfort of your house and a laptop and really just do a lot of smart research. The second one I always encourage is time on the ground in the market. Spending time before officially launching, just getting to know the ecosystem that you're playing in, whether you're a restaurateur or opening up a bakery or a shoe line, going there on the ground and really seeing what's happening, talking to your potential customers and networking in that ecosystem makes a difference. I'm not talking about months, but at least 2 to 3 trips where you get to see and feel what's really happening on the ground. And that is now actually what drives our expansion. We get a good idea of what's happening from a desktop research perspective, from an on-the-ground perspective. We create a network, we understand. And then, even if we have a high degree of confidence, we're smart about how much we financially invest. So when we're opening up in Spain, we're not going to start off with 10 people. We're starting off with 3 salespeople, shuttling in and out for the next 3 months. And then we have a plan internally to continue to build momentum on that geography as we grow in it.
Thank you, Alan. Maybe next question can go to Nawaf. So maybe staying a bit closer to home now, Bahrain, what makes Bahrain an attractive market probably for foreign startups to expand to? And how has Tenmo facilitated their entry into the market? And I know you mentioned EatApp, which is a bit more obviously from Bahrain, but how can you share a bit more of other success stories?
So basically, as I said, testing in a small market and expanding is very important. Yeah. Where you can dominate the market and then leave. We attract a lot of foreign founders to Bahrain through the Collective Hub. So basically, part of what we did is created the largest co-working space in Bahrain. We have 4 branches here that's dedicated to investors, startups, and creatives under one roof. So what we did is that we told foreign founders, come in, set up in Bahrain, get your license, mingle with the startup ecosystem, go into our programs, expand in Bahrain, and then leave. So we invest in Bahraini-based startups. However, the founders can be foreign. So I think using whatever is there as Bahrain as a launchpad is great. And I think startups should consider Bahrain as an option, considering everything that we offer, and launching in Bahrain is way cheaper than anywhere else. And it's close to the markets, which is Saudi, close to Egypt.
Yeah, I think definitely.
I add into that, Bahrain has the most developed corporate governance. Bahrain has a developed legislative system. It has really fantastic backup departments like Tamkeen, like the EDB, and many departments that are established. They are established. You, as a startup, you are never lost. If you need help, you always have a backup.
True.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the feedback we've received from a lot of foreign startups is like, there are larger companies larger countries they can expand to, but they like the closeness of Bahrain and how everyone is so always approachable, very helpful. Everything is very close to each other, so it makes life easier for them. And I think that definitely is one of the winning points and golden points of Bahrain. So Shafra, obviously in the hospitality world, it's very important for customer feedback, making sure that your customers are happy. So how do you make sure that Villa Mamas always incorporates customers' feedback into their business strategy?
We're very close with our guests. We have a team, a full team working from around the world, looking at our Google reviews and looking at the feedback. I am there 24/7. I only sleep like 2 hours, 3 hours a day. I look at my social media. People, if they can't approach any of the managers at Villa Mamas anywhere, they can approach me. They can get the answer from me. It's tough, it's hard, but it's also something that I love, I'm passionate about. So I'm enjoying it. So see, it's like marriage. If two people love each other, really love each other, they go through problems in the process, and they love each other, they endure the challenges.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Unlike if one of them is not in love with the other, then the partnership is broken easily. It's the same. It's the same in your business. You have to be really passionate about what you are doing what you're doing, not because you see someone who is very successful into launching this product or this service, and you want to be that person and you want to do what that person does because you want to achieve wealth or status or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a passion. I think you will see it. You will definitely see it, whether your customers see it or whether your business partners or potential suppliers see it. So I think we can open the floor to questions. I'll ask people in our audience in person first. Anyone has any questions that they would like to ask any of our panelists?
So I
Hi, my name is Aida. I'm the founder of Early Riser. My question is for Ria. Thank you for sharing your story. I think similar to you, so Early Riser, we manufacture granolas and nut butters in Bahrain. We started from home, and then alhamdulillah, we're distributing our products to almost all supermarkets in Bahrain. I started with no experience in F&B, and I'm learning as I go. And we have huge dreams to kind of grow outside Bahrain, grow our product line, and do a lot. You said, mashallah, where you are today, I just wanted to ask, is there a tool or is there a method or anything that helped you really gain that knowledge to take that steps to grow outside? And because sometimes it gets overwhelming, I don't know where to start. There's a lot to do. It's a product that we're trying to grow outside Bahrain. Mostly we're looking at the GCC and so forth. So I'm trying to learn I'm trying to talk to other entrepreneurs, but is there something that helped you gain the knowledge to kind of grow and take that sort of step?
So you have your business out of home or established?
Well, no, I had fully established.
You have shops.
Not shop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. So you established yourself. You have a shop.
Not a shop. We manufacture. I have a manufacturing
Plants,
facility.
like manufacturing.
Yes.
And how long have you done it? How long are you now established?
2 years تقريبا. يعني احنا نوزع يعني we distribute to Lulu, الجزيرة, الأسرة, almost all supermarkets in Bahrain.
It depends if you are happy with your revenue. If you are happy with your revenue, if you are happy with your business, and you are in control of your business here in Bahrain, and you are achieving your ROI, if you are happy with everything, then you have to study where you want to be next, and you have to study that market. Like, for example, Saudi Arabia's policy and food policy is totally different than Bahrain. So in order for you to distribute, I will give you from my experience now, okay? It's good that I'm here, so you don't have to go through what I went through. So in order for you to distribute food into Saudi, you have to have fully
standard
fully operated systemized factory. You cannot do anything manually.
Yeah.
And you have to have some kind of a proof that you're doing that. احنا هني في البحرين شويطر how long has he been producing شويطر back in 50 years شويطر للحين ما عنده شويطر ما عنده يسوي اشارات يدز كل شيء للحين ما عنده السيستم السعودية it's a must for you to export into Saudi. It's a must.
No human touch.
ما في human touch. كل شيء automatic. وعلشان يصير كل شيء automatic these equipments, these machinery are very expensive. Very, very expensive. But the market is there. Okay? And you have to study the market. Where you want to be distributed.
بس ممكن مثلا exporting مو لازم إن she's established there. She can easily export.
هذه الاكسبورت you cannot enter Saudi or Saudi market. You cannot. Now I am my mahbouj in Saudi. I cannot export to Saudi.
Amar, maybe you have some
Can I add one thing? Hello, Aida. I have your granola today.
Oh yeah.
I
had your granola
today. So I think what startups lack or what businesses lack is to identify international benchmarks within the whole system. Maybe benchmark in finance, what is my gross margin, how is it compared to other international benchmarks, and go from there. Yani, at the end of the day, as what Raya said, are you comfortable with your sales? Is your sales within the international benchmark? Is it within your benchmark to leave Bahrain or it's not? This is very important.
And I know that the supermarkets, their margin, the percentage they take is just killing. I don't know how you're sustaining yourself. I don't know. But see, behind entrepreneurs, they achieve huge sales.
Please feel free to intervene as well in this question.
Yeah, I think, look, it's funny because I've actually invested in an FMCG business that does tissues and diapers, fine, hygienic. And they started pivoting towards hygiene and other food products. Expanding into different markets comes with a lot of rules and regulations, but it could be very successful and lucrative if you get it right, especially in FMCG, right? It's all about numeric distribution. So if you are able to find a way to comply with the rules and regulations of, say, Saudi Arabia, which is quite attractive, and then you are able to strike up good deals for numeric distribution to be in as many stores as possible, I would say it's worth the risk because that is quite an attractive market for products. And it is one of those that you could even be very creative with marketing as well to kind of gain market share. You're not entirely held hostage by the leverage that a lot of these large organized retailers will have. So my experience in this is it's worth the effort and worth the compliance with that market to kind of get into it, especially if we're talking about Saudi here.
I hope that
Maybe we can take one more quick question, short question, please. Sorry. Okay, this conversation really takes us into the understanding, which we all aware of, that our market is very small, Bahrain and Iraq, as everyone knows. And everyone, the hype is basically now Saudi. For how long Saudi will be the hype? If not Saudi, when Saudi can be still leading that hype into everyone wants to be.
Saudi started just now.
Just started. But regardless of Saudi is like a rocket. How regardless? They got them started مرة واحدة طيارات.
روكتها من زمان لازم يسوونها مصر.
This is my question. يعني everyone is jumping into Saudi.
It's how where you see that
Until when? This is what I'm saying. Like, but yeah, this is what I understand. We understand that our market is small. We understand that it is very difficult for us to grow in our market. And everyone is looking into opportunities, not just in Saudi, in GCC in general, internationally. Until you started yourself in London, حتى before GCC country. This is as far as I know. But then you started establishing yourself in GCC. Taking that decision, after how many years you've taken that decision? When you said yourself that you grow, and then maybe after 10 years, you decided to explore further markets. When is the time for us to start thinking, not only in GCC, and on international level? And this is to you and for Nawaf, because Nawaf, you are from the investor side, and Umar as well. You are into that part of understanding when is the right decision for entrepreneurs to grow out of their markets. أعرف إن السؤال صعب وأعرف إن
أنا أجاوبك.
Sorry, maybe we can have this discussion a bit later after the event, because I unfortunately have to end the event. So we can have this discussion. I think it's a very important question to answer. So I just wanted to thank you everyone again for coming. Thank you so much for our panelists, and definitely there's a lot of questions I think that will still need to be asked after this event. I'm just want to thank Atlantic Council again for introducing this program to Bahrain. I just want to give the mic to Noor Dabusi, that is the Assistant Director and Win Fellowship and Empower Me Initiative at the Middle East. On to you, Noor.
Thank you so much, Amira. This was a very insightful discussion and a very important one for entrepreneurs looking to expand their businesses across the MENA region. I wanted to take this opportunity to drive home some points that our speakers have shared with us from their experiences. Number one, fear and hesitation are a big part of the process of any startup, but particularly a startup that is looking to expand, as Ru'ya mentioned. But what's important is to focus on being unique in your products and your services. Number two, there are many aspects that investors look at when studying whether they should invest or not in a business. They look at the markets. As Omar mentioned, they look on how much time they are going to spend on the ground on the market. But also, as Nawaf mentioned, they look at one entrepreneur's vision, and they examine whether the entrepreneur will deliver based on their promises. Number three, every market has its own characteristics, but just like it has its challenges, it also has its opportunities. What we should focus on is looking at how we can leverage these opportunities whenever we are looking into expand our big businesses into them. Number 4, from a policy perspective, policymakers in Bahrain should continue fostering an environment that is conducive to supporting creating awareness within the investment community in order to attract more money. And number 5, before expanding, start within a small market, dominate it with your ideas and your products, and then expand it and look into how you can improve your products and services. With that, we've reached the ending of this session. I'd like to thank our partners in Bahrain again, Bahrain FinTech Bay, but as well as our sponsors, the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain. I'd also like to thank our speakers and our moderator for sharing their experiences with us. And of course, I'd like to thank our attendees, whether they're in person or online. Thank you so much for joining us today, and be on the lookout for more events and publications from WIN and the Atlantic Council.
Thank you.